Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name's Caitlin if you didn't know, and I do a bunch of books videos like this one you are seeing right now. Today's video is going to be kind of a shorter one, I believe. Really, I didn't read a lot in January and I don't have a huge TBR for February, but I still wanted to put out a video like this. I love wrap-up videos, the TBR videos, all of that. So that's what I'm doing today, and I'm so excited to give you my wrap-up for the month. January was a month of just not reading. I feel like the two books that I was reading mostly took up a lot of time. Didn't love reading this month. It was a very slow reading month. I wish it was better. I'm hoping that a slump is not happening. I don't think one's happening, but it might have just been the books that I was reading. So without further ado, we're just gonna get on into the video. So we're gonna get into the wrap up of January first, and then we'll get into the TBR of February, which I just picked myself. I just didn't feel like doing any type of thing. Wanted to strictly mood read January and February, so maybe in March we'll have a TBR video. But for the books in January, I read 4 books. I think I read like 1,700 pages or something. It was a good reading month, but also I don't have the best thoughts on some books, and I'll tell you why. I read 1 Kindle book, 3 physical copies, and then I read 2 romances, 1 fantasy, and a thriller book. We had like a good broad range of genres, which I'm very happy about, so I'm glad that I was able to read these. Let's get on to it. I'm gonna do it in order of that I read them. First book that I read and finished in January was one that was taking me the longest time. I started it in December thinking I would finish it for 2024, and then I finished it in January. Magnolia Parks by Jessa Hastings, which I'm so incredibly happy that I finally read it. I was getting it nonstop in TBR videos, and I would come back for a wrap up and be like, oh, I didn't read it, because I was just pushing this off because I knew that everyone either absolutely loves it or they absolutely hated it. I feel like I'm in the middle. I loved it, but I hated it. This book took me such a long time to finish it, and I think it was mostly because the toxicity and everything that was happening in these books, it just kind of left like a bad taste in my mouth. When I would finally pick up the book, I would read like 50 pages, 100 pages in one sitting because I was just so intrigued with what was happening and all the drama. So the drama got me, the romance did not get me though. I know some people give hate to BJ, but I feel like I like him a little bit more than Magnolia. Actually, I know why, and I could get all into it, but that's the why I have a reading vlog out, so you can know my thoughts about it. I did enjoy it. Romance just wasn't my favorite. It just didn't, it really kicked me down. I also just feel like Magnolia got on BJ about everything, and I know that he wasn't the best person in all, being very strict on him and wasn't allowing him to grow as a person. And I think that was one of my biggest issues, was like, okay, you want to be with him, but you're not allowing him to become a better person. I think that's why I'm kind of in the middle. The hype when I finished it was like, oh my god, I gotta read the next book, but as it's kind of dwelled down, I'm just kind of like, oh, you know what I mean? This is the first book that I finished in January. I was gonna say August for some reason. I don't know. Still absolutely love these covers. I want to get these like special editions ones. This one I'm so incredibly grateful that I was able to finish it because I have been nonstop talking about it. It's just one of my favorite books, one of my favorite authors, and I love this entire universe that she's got going on, and that is Clockwork Princess by Cassandra Clare. This is the last book in the Infernal Devices series. Did this tug on my this tugged on my heartstrings so many times. I could not put it down. I mean, I would read for hours and I would get so far in this book. Writing style in the beginning was kind of slow, but once she gets that storytelling down and she doesn't have to do like the nitty-gritty type things, she's got such a wonderful story, wonderful bunch of characters. You fall in love with all of these characters. They all have different reasons on why they did what they did, but they all care about each other so greatly, and I just have a wonderful time every single time learning about new characters, saying hi to new characters, and I love all the characters that we have in this book. They were just wonderful, and I am going to miss them dearly. The last hour books I'm pretty sure is their children, so I'm wondering if we will get insight into them. We will cry though. I cried painfully through this book because I was upset, happy. The romance, especially in this book, is one that is very unique, and I love how she presented it. If it was another author, I feel like they might have twisted it, you know, made it a little, oh, but like Cassandra Clare did such a great job with handling this romance, and the way that it ended and everything, I was like, yes, exactly this. Yes, 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 1,000 times yes. And I love it. It works so perfectly, and I wish I could say more, but I can't. I think the next book I have to get to is the Bane Chronicles, and I just got it on an audiobook that I can read it during the car ride or something. So that's one of my books. It's not on my TBR, but it's definitely one that I want to kind of like slowly get through this month. Anyway, this is the next one that I finished, and I'm so glad that I finished finished type. Next book that I finished is on my Kindle. It was The Housemaid by Freida McFadden. That is my first Freida McFadden book. I was in Vermont with Dylan. It was our last day on the mountain and I was just like really tired and like I didn't snowboard as much, so I went to the lodge and I started the book because Becca bought it. Thank God. Read 50 pages there. Was so excited to read it. I was like, okay, perfect. We had a 6-hour drive home. 3 hours left, something like that. I sat on my Kindle. I sat with my Kindle in my hands. There we go. And finished this 350 page book. Could not put it down. I can't even, Dylan sat right next to me. Every single time something happened, I just looked at him and I was like, this book was so freaking incredible. The twists and turns that happened, I feel like I kind of knew one was happening, but all these other ones, I was like, holy smokes, like this is so good. I love Millie. I literally finished it in a day. Other than 24-hour readathons, there's been a couple books that I finished in a day, but I have not done it in so freaking long. And the way that it was so effortlessly too, I can just binge read, and I just loved every single second of The Housemaid. I literally cannot talk about this book without spoiling. The way that she did this like little twist, and I was like, oh my gosh. As soon as I saw the title to the chapter and like the first line, I was like, and everything that we had just learned in that first half, I was like, no. I was like, no way right now. Chef's kiss. And I cannot wait to read the second book. I still need to get the physical copy for the first one, and I'm hoping to get the physical copy of the second one. I love that book. It was really, really good. That's the next book that I finished in January. The last and final book that I finished in January, literally on the last day, I was like, I'm not gonna finish this. And then I was sick, and then I was like, let's finish it. It's Daisy Haites by Jessa Hastings, and this is the first book in the Daisy Haites series. I think I'm supposed to like go back and forth from these series, so I'm glad that I get to go to a Magnolia Parks book because I didn't like Daisy Haites as much, if I'm being so honest. But I love Daisy and Christian together. They were so perfect for one another. But everything, like the way that like Daisy just kept like having her ex-boyfriend on the side, I was like, ew. Like you have been saying and saying how much you love Christian, but yet you still have your boyfriend on the side. And I know, and I know that there's like a trauma bond there, but it boiled my blood. Like my body didn't know that it was a trauma bond. I was just like, oh my God, you're pissing me off. The Daisy that we had at the end was not the Daisy I fell in love with, and so many things happened, and like I'm just heartbroken. I think that's the biggest thing. I just wanted them to be in love, but there's so many different things that both of them had to battle. Daisy had to deal with a lot of past trauma, and then her ex-boyfriend, and then Christian had to deal with getting over Magnolia. It hurt me to see them in these positions. I kept coming to their sides. Like when stuff was happening and Daisy was doing things and she was reacting, I was like, well, she's doing it because of this and this and this. And then when Christian was reacting, I was like, well, he's doing this because of this. I just want them together because I know that they'll be better for one another, and I need them together. But that's like not the problem with the book. I totally understand that. I was just very frustrated because this book literally took me a whole month to finish. It took forever. Like the writing style for me felt extremely slow. For Magnolia Parks, it felt like a page turner. For some reason in this book, it felt very slow for me to get through. The writing style for this one felt very slow. The text is small. For me personally, I felt like the story just flowed slower than Magnolia Parks. Didn't like that Julian had a POV in this. I feel like every time he came around, I was just like snoozing. I just really didn't care with what he was talking about, and I just wanted to see what Daisy and Christian were going through. So I think that was like a biggest thing for me, was like, I was like, Julian, go. Like no one, no. So, and I feel bad because I do like Julian. What we had in Magnolia Parks, I really liked. So much stuff happens at the end. My heart was like really just upset. For me personally, reading this and the experience I had was not the best, but when I did read it, I was intrigued, and I do really care for these characters. I feel like I gave it like a bad rep in the reading vlog, but I did enjoy it, and I am excited to read the next one because I hear that The Great Undoing is absolutely masterpiece. So I am very excited to get to that one. I think this one was just, you know, let's start with all the trauma, you know? That is everything that I read for January. Guys, sorry, I'm such like a fidgeter with my hair. It's crazy. Okay, so now that we finished with January, I am gonna get into February's TBR. Me picking my TBR isn't as fun as like the TBR jar or doing this or doing that, and I promise that I'll have like a fun video in February to kind of do. I might have Dylan like pick my TBR or something. The first book that is on my TBR, the one that I decided to pick, is the 12, which is the Naturals novella. This one is in the back of the Bad Blood book. Honestly, kind of forgot about it. I just got the notification the other day that I was like up for my turn to have the book, and I was like, I'm gonna read it because this book is only like 120 pages. I miss these characters and I'm so excited to read them. So I have it on my Kindle, and then I also have it in the book if I want to read it. But I'm excited. I think this takes place when they're a little bit older, so we've had some time between the Bad Blood book and then now, and I think they're like actually recruiting people to be in the Naturals program, which I thought was really cool. So I'm just excited to see where they're at, how they're doing. The next one that I am reading right now, if you guys have been up on my Goodreads, is Deep End by Ali Hazelwood. I just got this, could not be more excited. I've just been seeing that everyone's been really liking this book. This is a steamier book of Ali Hazelwood's. We all know that I'm not the biggest fan for smut. Like, I can do it, but sometimes if it's too much, it kind of takes away for me for a book. So I'm not a big smut reader, but I feel like with Ali Hazelwood, I just love Ali Hazelwood and I just want to read all of her books. So I'm gonna be picking this up. I'm gonna be trying it out, seeing how I like it. And yeah, so this is about Scarlett, and this is about Lucas. And Scarlett is a diver, and she has some trauma from a injury that happens. And when you found out about her injury, it's like not just one thing, it's like a bajillion things. So she's dealing with that and like the trauma of that, and just trying to get back to her A game. And then there's Lucas, who is a swimmer, and he is an Olympic swimmer as well. He just likes it like a little bit more steamier. And I don't want to give anything away because that kind of gives away what the book is. I just know that they both just like a little bit more. There's stuff that happens, and I know that people weren't excited about the plot line of how this book starts, but there's a reason it happens, and like there's reasons, you know. I'm absolutely obsessed with this cover too, so that's even a better reason that I want to read it. The first book that I'm going to get through in February one is going to be The Inheritance Games by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. This is the first book. I want to say there's 5 books in the series, and I have heard that some people say that they kind of drag on, but I am so excited for this book. This is about Avery, and Avery's just like a normal girl, and out of nowhere Grayson Hawthorne comes to her at school and is like, hey, you're in my grandfather's will, you need to come with us. Okay, I don't know your grandfather, but okay. So she goes to the reading of the will, and the grandfather leaves her his entire inheritance basically. Only rule is that she has to stay at the house for at least a year, or for a year, and then she can inherit it all. Of course, the family is very upset. To know about the grandfather, he was always very into puzzles, secrets. This book reminded me of Knives Out especially, but it also gave me House of Anubis vibes because his house has so many different passages. There's puzzles around the house that you have to do, so then you can find the next clue. Very intriguing that I'm hopefully gonna be reading. I wanted to read for Valentine's Day because it's so freaking cute, but it's Last Chance Books, and this is by Kelsey Rodkey. The only thing that I know about this, Madeline Moore, and she has a bookstore called Books and More, but she's like supposed to inherit that bookstore, and then this guy like moves in across the street or something, and he opens his own bookstore called The Prologue, and basically there starts to be like a battle of who can have more people, and like there's like enemies to lovers type ideal because their bookstores are right next to each other. Other than that, she finds Jasper like very attractive, and then obviously stuff will start going on. This cover is actually like so cute too, and I just love like the little hearts around, so I'm hoping that I can read it because of Valentine's Day coming up. And then the last and final book that I really want to get to, Heartless, and this is by Elsie Silver. This is the second book in the Chestnut Springs series, and it is the like original or like the special edition covers, and I love these ones. Oh my god, the freaking chapter pages are beautiful. This is gorgeous. I'm so excited to get into this one. This is Cade, and that is, I can't even remember the guy's name. Okay, yeah, it's Cade and Willa. Cade is a grumpy single dad, and I think Willa is like the babysitter. Yeah, that's all I know. I don't know if we met Willa in the first book. I can't really remember her. I do remember Cade though, grumpy, but like I really fell in love with him. I'm so excited. That's basically, I have nothing really big to say on this book. I am very excited. Her books are very easy reads to me. Those are the books. I tried to add more romances in this month just to kind of enjoy Valentine's Day. I don't know if I'm going to be coming out with like a romance reading vlog. kind of have it in this vlog that I'm doing this week. So yeah, something very simple, but I'm glad that I have a couple romance books on my shelves for this month. So I'm very excited. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. It was a very simple one, very short one. Thank you very much for watching this video. I really hope you guys enjoyed it. Please go to like and hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so you know every time I post and you don't miss an upload by me. And I hope everyone just enjoys their day. And yeah, I will see you guys in my next video. Be safe and I love you.